Hi again, Pastor Tom Carter, Word Without Walls, with another Guerrilla Gospel video for you. The message tonight is Wide Open, and it's about being open to what God has done for us, being open to who God is in us, and keeping our heart open to love. Because when Jesus said, I have come that you might have life, and that more abundantly, the thing that makes abundant life abundant is love. A life full of love is worth living. And really, love is what makes it possible to live. Because to live is to love, and to love is to live. You can't have one without the other because they're the same thing. So, first, I want to read Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23 in a couple of different translations and really kind of focus in on our heart being open, because that's where everything starts. And that's what it says in the Amplified version of Proverbs 4:23. It reads like this: Keep and guard your heart with all vigilance, and above all that you guard, for out of it flow the springs of life. And in the King James Bible, it reads a little bit differently. It says, Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. And almost a little bit unfortunately, it seems like we've kind of taken the idea of keeping our heart or guarding our heart to mean that we close our heart down and we protect ourselves and we build a wall and we keep everybody else out. But that's not what the heart is for. So that's not really keeping your heart. And again, if the issues of life or the spring of life flows out of your heart, then you have to have an open heart. You have to be open to receive the love of God, and you have to be open to release the love of God. Because I'm kind of convinced that the best way to receive God's love is by releasing it, by stepping out in faith, if I can say it that way, and loving somebody. Because if you can't give what you don't have, and if you can only give what you do have, then if you step out in faith and you love somebody, that means that on some level you believe that you are loved. Because again, you couldn't give it if you didn't have it. So keeping your heart, guarding your heart, it doesn't mean closing it down. It means opening it up. And that's kind of what it says in 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 18. And I pretty much wrote a whole book about this idea when I wrote Identity Crisis. And it says, But we all, with open face, beholding as in a glass the glory of the Lord, are changed into the same image from glory to glory, even as by the Spirit of the Lord. And again, the focus here is being open. The focus here is having an open face, which means the veil has been taken away, which means the veil is the veil of the law, or the stone, if I can say it that way. When Lazarus died and Jesus came to raise him from the dead, he told them to roll away the stone. And then he told them to take away Lazarus's grave clothes because he wasn't dead anymore. He was resurrected. He was able to walk in newness of life. When Jesus died, and they came and they rolled the stone away from his tomb, they found an empty tomb. So the idea of having an open face beholding in the glass, the idea of having the veil of the law taken away, or the stone of the law taken away, because remember, the law was written on stone tablets, the 10 Commandments. It's this idea of getting out of religion and into relationship, being open to something different than what man's tradition has taught us. Jesus didn't come to bring a new religion. Jesus came to show us the Father. Jesus came that we might have life. And the way that we have life through Jesus is because he gave his life for us, and he gave his life to us. Because Jesus didn't just want us to have any life. He wanted us to have his life. He wanted us to have that abundant, everlasting, eternal resurrection life that is relationship between father and son, the unconditional love between a father and a son. So when we have an open heart and we have an open face, then when we look in the mirror, when we behold in the glass, what we see is the glory of the Lord. Not because it's in the glass, but because it's inside of us. And we're not looking at the glass. We're not looking at the surface stuff. We're not looking at all our blemishes and all our flaws and all our mistakes. We're looking in the glass. We're looking in ourselves and in each other. I think it's so important that we stop looking at each other and judging by. Jesus said, judge not by appearance, but judge righteous judgment. We need to stop looking at each other and judging each other for what we do, and we need to start looking into each other and start understanding who we are. Because when you know who you are, everything you do flows from that. You don't have to worry about trying to be somebody you're not when you know who you really are. When you're open to God revealing who you really are to you by revealing himself to you. So it says, but we all, with open face, beholding as in a glass the glory of the Lord, are changed into the same image. What you behold is what you become. What you feed is what grows. What you magnify in your life will manifest in your life. When you see the glory of the Lord, you're changed into that same image, from glory to glory, not from garbage to glory. All right, we don't start as less than. We are complete in him. That's not the point. Is not to get more complete. The point is not to get more perfect. First of all, you can't get more perfect, and how could you get any more perfect than having the perfect one live inside of you? But the deal is, you have to be open to who you really are. You have to stop believing what the world tells you and start believing the word of the Lord. You have to have that open heart where you can stop saying, I'm not worthy of God's love, where you can stop saying, I have to pick flower petals. He loves me not, and just hope and pray that I land on he loves me. Because with God, it's not he loves me not. With God, it's he loves me. He's always loved me. He is love. He can't do anything else but love me. But again, that's something that it's like we almost have to train ourselves or reprogram ourselves or recalibrate ourselves to come to a place where we can stop judging each other and ourselves, and we can just open our hearts and be open to his love, where we can see that I'm starting at glory, okay? I'm starting at complete. I'm starting at I have everything I need. I'm starting at I am who I'm supposed to be. But then we're changed from glory to glory. As we mature, as we learn, as we grow, as we begin to understand what it means to be complete in him, as we begin to understand what it means that he loves us with an unconditional, immaculate love. And then that takes me to the last verse I want to read for this message is Revelation chapter 3, verse 20, and it's the red letters in the Bible, so it's Jesus speaking. And he says, behold, I stand at the door and knock. And again, Jesus said I think it's in the book of John, he said, I am the door to the sheepfold. And so we know that he is the door. We know that the heart is the door. He stands at the door and knocks. He stands at our heart and knocks. And if we keep our heart, if we guard our heart, not closing it down, but opening it up, he says, if any man hear my voice and open the door, open the heart, keep the heart open, I will come into him and I will sup with him and he with me. The way we experience Jesus' life is by letting Jesus live his own life in us and through us and as us. The way we experience this unconditional love relationship between Father and Son is by accepting Jesus, by accepting the truth that we are Jesus. God in the flesh, love in a body. God in our flesh, love in our body. So when we hear that knocking on the door, when we hear that still small voice of God with every beat of our heart, once again saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. When we stop disqualifying ourselves and saying, I'm not worthy of love, or if we stop disqualifying ourselves and saying, I'm not good enough for God to love me, if we stop all of that, if we look at the mirror with an unveiled face, with the stone rolled away, with an open heart, then we can open the door and we can say, you love me? Okay, I love you too. We can love God back by loving each other, which Jesus said is the new commandment, to love one another as he has loved us. So I don't want to get into all that tonight. I don't want this to be long. Again, Guerrilla Gospel, it's the bite size, the minced meat, the attention span, as it were, kind of message. But I just really want to focus on how we really truly begin to experience this love of God, first things first, building the foundation, we have to be open to it. We have to have an open face. We have to have an open heart. We have to open the door when we hear him knock. So again, I think we need to start to live wide open. So that's what I have for you guys for this time, for now. Thank you as always for all the support, helping me share the vids and the books and the rants and everything. You know, it's my heart just to get this word out there. So thank you all, again, Pastor Tom Carter, Word Without Law, Walls, Guerrilla Gospel. Amen.